Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear respected students, may Allah bless you for your attendance. Today we are covering the Kitab Tauhid by Muhammad bin Abdul-Wahhaab, rahman Ali. Just a quick reminder, please take notes, listen attentively, and hand your questions over to myself or the co-host throughout the course of the lesson. With that said, I will hand it back to the Shaykh to start the lesson. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, Shaykh. We lost you for a second.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Today is our weekly class, Kitab Tauhid, chapter number 2. باب فضل التوحيد وما يكفر من الذنوب. So this is the title of the chapter. The virtues of the Tawheed, the superiority of the Tawheed, and its excellence in washing away sins, removing sins. So the superiority of Tawheed and what it removes of sins. Before delving, you can see from the title, before delving into the chapter, you can see from the title that the chapter is going to mention the virtues of Tawheed, importance of the Tawheed, and the excellence of the Tawheed if you actualize it truly in your life. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created us for the Tawheed, to worship Him alone. As you know, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I created jinn and mankind only to worship me. And this beautiful book, Kitab al-Tawheed, dedicated mainly for Tawheed al-Ibadah, the unity of worship, Tawheed Uluhiyah. As you know, there are three categories of Tawheed, or three aspects of the Tawheed. Explain this. All the three categories of Tawheed mentions in Surah Al-Fatiha, as you know it. So it's not something a concocted, invented innovation or etc., as many of the Sufis and the ignorant and the fools they claim. So the three types of the Tawheed or categories, either it is talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what he deserves, Allah's names, Allah's attributes, what we call him, what we cannot call him, what we can ascribe to him, what we cannot ascribe to him. And this is known as Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat. And I beg you to take notes. And this we refer to as Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat, unity of divine names and attributes of Allah. Or singling out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding his own divine acts, his own actions, that he provides, he cherishes, he protects, he defends his servant. So he's the cherisher, the creator, he creates. No one creates but Allah. So singling him out regarding his own divine acts, and this is known as Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, to single him out as your Rabb, your Lord, unity of Lordship, or Rububiyyah. And the third category is related to our actions, the actions and the deeds of the servants. So singling him out regarding our actions, that we offer our deeds, our actions to him and him only. So all our a'mal, all our deeds are for Allah. Salah for Allah, zakah for Allah, hajj for Allah. Every act of worship is only for Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should not associate any partner with him. And this particular category, type of Tawheed, this book is focusing on that. That's why this book is unique. Unique in its categorization, the way he classified it, the author, rahimahullah, and the chapters mentioned therein. And as you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his messengers and prophets to the people, to the nations, to focus on this category, this type. Because type 1 and 2, Lordship, Rububiyyah, and divine names and attributes, it is there by default. Any person who has sound nature, sound fitrah, he knows his creator is Allah. Even the idol worshippers. Go and ask him, is this idol the one that created you? He'll tell you, no. God. This is only intermediary means of communicating and conveying my needs to the creator, Allah. But what happened to mankind regarding the third category, they started associating others with Allah in their ibadah, in the worship, associating intermediaries. For that reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the messengers to all the nations to correct this misconception and misunderstanding. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا في كل أمة رسولا أن اعبدوا الله واجتنبوا الطاغوت. We have sent into every community, every nation, every people, messenger, warner, declaring to them, announcing to them, and Ubudullah, worship Allah. He is calling them to worship Allah alone. وَيْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتِ, and shun and desert all false deities. So the messengers came to call the people to worship Allah alone without associating anyone with Him. Allah says, فَإِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. And recall and remember Salih, who was sent to his people, Thamud, tribe of Thamud, telling them, and اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ, worship Allah. مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. Have no other ilah, other deity to worship except Him. وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ. To the people of Madian, their brother Shu'aib, alayhi salam, calling them, اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ, worship Allah. مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. You have no other ilah, you have no other deity to worship except Him. وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. To the people of Ad, their brother Hud, same message. اعبدوا الله, اعبدوا اعبدوا اعبدوا, worship 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 Allah alone. ما لكم من إله غيره. You have no other ilah. He is the true deity you should worship. And you have to disbelieve the Tawhid, all, and shun all the false deities. Okay. So the Anbiya, the Rusul, came to focus on Tawhid al-Ibadah, because that's when where the march of mankind, okay, diverted. That's where humanity diverted and went astray. And subhanallah, many of the people, or those who call in the field of da'wah, you find them focusing on Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. And thinking that is enough. It's not enough to believe that Allah is my creator, cherisher, sustainer, everything is in His hand. And then when it comes to my actions, my acts of worship, I direct them to other than Allah. Because if I understand Tawheed Rububiyyah truly, that necessitates and dictates that I should only worship the one who gives me everything, who provides me everything, who protects me from everything. So here, this second chapter of Kitab al-Tawheed, and I recommend that you read the book, understand it, and try to memorize. So Bab Fadl al-Tawheed, the virtues of Tawheed, وَمَا يُكَفِّرُ مِنَ الذُّنُوبِ, and the types of sin that it expiates and washes away. And here I want you to note down the following. Here there are two good news for the monotheist or the muwahhid. Because the key of the Jannah is La ilaha illallah. But remember, the key will have teeth. Will have teeth. And you know, there are 7 conditions of La ilaha illallah. You know them. You should know them by heart now. So if you fulfill those conditions, العلم واليقين والقبول والانقياد فادر ما أقول والصدق والإخلاص والمحبة. 7 conditions. If you memorize them and understand them and apply in your life, and you fulfill these conditions, then this good news is for you, the glad tidings. So La ilaha illallah is not lip service, you say it, and you think, you will be delivered, you will be saved. No, you are mistaken. You have to fulfill the conditions of it. Ilm, knowledge. Yaqeen, certainty. Acceptance, qabul. Ilm, yaqeen, qabul. Inqiyad, submission. Sidq, truthfulness. Sincerity, ikhlas, and love, muhabba. So here, the good news is that the muwahhid, the monotheist, the true monotheist, will not stay in the hellfire forever. Because being a monotheist doesn't mean you are infallible, masoom, and you will not make mistakes or commit sins. Because you are a human being. Okay? But because you are a monotheist, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He punishes those monotheists the sinners who committed sins, for their sins for a specific period of time in the hellfire. Then He brings them out to the Jannah, from the hellfire to the Jannah. So the monotheist, the muwahhid, will never remain in the hellfire. Only those who are destined for hell to stay there forever are the kafirs, not the monotheists, not the believers. Now, this should instill fear in our heart, because what happens, some Muslims, they feel, oh, I am wahid, I don't commit shirk, I don't call the saints the dead, and everyone is boasting while he is committing other sins. And he or she thinks that, oh, I will go straight forward to the Jannah. No. No. Be careful. Fulfill the conditions. Where is the submission? Where is the submission? You submit. Where is it? Where are the a'mal? Where is the salah? Where is the zakah? Where? Because some, they have this wrong understanding, misconception. As long as I believe that only Allah deserves ibadah and worship, that's enough. No. You have to protect yourself and refrain from all the things that make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry. And you have to sanctify and respect the limits set by Allah, and don't cross them. So that's why the belief of Ahl Sunnah, for those who commit and perpetrate kaba'ir, major sins, khamr, drinking alcohol, zina, theft, murder, they are sinners, and they are remain within the fold of Islam, and we treat them Muslims. And when they die, if someone died while drinking alcohol or committing zina, we give him or her burial wash, bury them in the Muslim graveyard. His wife will go through the waiting period, how his wealth will be distributed among the heirs, the children. And we pray and ask Allah to forgive him or her. And the matter is with Allah. We can neither say he's going to hell, nor that he's going to Jannah. The matter is with Allah. تحت المشيئة, the ulama they say, is under Allah's will. It's up to Allah whether to forgive him or to punish him. Because Allah says, إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء. So Allah made it clear. إن الله لا يغفر, Allah does not forgive associating any partner with him, أن يشرك به. ويغفر ما دون ذلك, and he forgives anything less than that to whom he wills. And no doubt, major sins are less than shirk. So the one who died while drinking alcohol, the one who died while committing zina, the one who died while committing theft, this major sin, less than shirk, so he is up to Allah. He's under Allah's rahmah. And it's Allah who decides whether to punish him and purify him in the hellfire or in the grave, or to forgive him. Because Allah can forgive. Allah forgave the man who killed 100 innocent souls. Allah forgave the woman who was a prostitute when she gave water to the thirsty dog. And Allah cannot be questioned. The deviant sect like the Mu'tazila and others, they said that Allah has no right to forgive the sinners. That's why to them, anyone who commits major sin is a kafir. Kafir. Ahl Sunnah refuted them. They said, if he's a kafir, his punishment should be capital punishment. But what is the punishment for one who commits theft? To cut his hand off, that's it. Not to kill him. One who drinks alcohol, to be lashed. So he's not an apostate, he's not a murtad. And that's why the Mu'tazila, these are deviant sects, as entity and number of people or founders or persons, yeah, they perish, they don't. but as thought, still alive. And many people, they hold the views of the Mu'tazila. And there are attempts to revive the heritage of the Mu'tazila. Other sects, they adopted the same thing, that the one who commits major sin, he's a kafir. Okay, Ahl Sunnah say, no, he's not a kafir, he's a Muslim. Because the Prophet ﷺ, the way he treated the perpetrators of major sins, proves that he considered them Muslims. Ma is the one who committed zina. After he was stoned, they performed janazah and they prayed for him. The same thing for the woman. The one who killed himself, he killed himself. The Prophet ﷺ said to the Sahaba, Sallu ala sahibikum. He didn't perform janazah prayer, but he allowed the Sahaba to perform the janazah prayer, which means he's not kafir, he's a Muslim. So keep this in mind. So here, among the virtues of the Tauhid, for the Muwahhid, if Allah, okay, so that it is fit to punish him in the hellfire, then he will not stay in the hellfire forever. The Mu'tazila, because they are saying the one who commits major sins will remain in the hellfire forever, they rejected all the ahadith about shafa'ah intercession. Because all the ahadith of the shafa'ah are for the sinners, those who committed sins and entered the hellfire. And their aqidah says he will remain there forever. So if they approve of all the hadith of shafa'ah, this refutes their belief. So they decided to reject the hadith of shafa'ah. So the muwahhid, my dear brothers and sisters, will not stay in the hellfire forever. And this is good news, okay, that he will not stay in the hellfire forever. And the second thing, good news, for those who did not commit sins, those who were leading pious, righteous life, major sins. Minor sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave means and ways of expiating them daily. You see, the wudu is one of the means. If you saw something haram and now time for salah and you are taking wudu, all the sins of watching that haram or seeing that haram are coming out with the water, washed away. The 5 prayers, they wash away the minor sins. The istighfar, all the good deeds you do. So Allah put and provided cleansers, means of cleansing the dirt that we commit every day, the minor sins. Friday prayer, okay, Jum'ah, expiate the minor sins. So all the hadith that you come across, they are talking about minor sins. Major sins, you have to make sincere tawbah. You have to make sincere tawbah. So the muwahhid who was leading upright conduct, pious, righteous life, by Allah's grace, he will not enter the hellfire. And he will go straight to the Jannah. He will go straight to the Jannah. Like the hadith which is known to many of you, the 70,000 who will enter the Jannah without calling for reckoning, without being called to for accountability, they go straight to the Jannah and without being punished. Those who do not ask for ruqyah, they don't ask someone to read on them. Don't ask if you want to be from the 70,000. This because the authentic narration, لا يسترقون, they don't ask anyone to read on them. The narration that ولا يرقون, they don't read on somebody, that narration is not authentic. So if you want to be from the 70,000, you should not ask for someone to read on you when you are sick. That's why, my dear brothers and sisters, if you visit a brother or a sister and happen to be sick or and he or she be sick, then you don't ask him or her, do you want me to read on you? No. Just read without seeking permission. And he or she should not refuse. But this is gift from Allah. So the 70,000 here, they don't ask someone to read on them. They don't believe in the evil omens. Okay, they believe only in Allah. And they don't cauterize themselves, branding themselves with fire, with hot metals. So these are their qualities. So they entered the Jannah without being called to reckoning or for reckoning accountability. So they go straight to the Jannah. The shuhada, the martyrs. People are still waiting for the hisab, for reckoning, and they go straight to the Jannah. The angels ask them, "You finished?" He said, "There was nothing." Well, there was nothing we had, okay, or to be asked about. Our swords only with us, and we were fighting, and we were martyred. So they are going straight to the Jannah. Or the fuqara of the Ansar, they entered the Muhajirin, they entered the Jannah before the rest of mankind. So that's why each one of us should strive and work hard to avoid sinning. So the virtues of Tauhid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in Surah Al-An'am, Ayah 82, الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون. Allah said, it is those who believe in the oneness of Allah and worship none but Him alone, and confuse not their belief with dhulm. We'll explain that. For them only there is security and they are guided ones. Now this ayah, when it came down, the Sahaba are pure Arabs. And this is what makes them unique. They know the Quran. They know the meaning of the Quran. It is in their mother tongue. And you will not believe this, that many of the deviant sects, Mu'tazila, Jahmiyyah, and others, they went astray because they were not well established in understanding the Arabic tongue and the way the Arabs talk and the way the Arabs communicate and the different types of usage of the Arabic language. That's why the famous debate that happened between one of the Jahmiyyah and Abdul-Aziz al-Kinani in his famous debate, and it's mentioned in the book Al-Haida. Abdul-Aziz al-Kinani, rahimahullah, told the Khalifa, I debate with Bishr on the condition using the Quran and the way the Arabs understand their tongue. Because he's not an Arab. And if you read the debate, he made many blunders, the Jahmi. So much so that the Khalifa was laughing. So the Arabs, the Quran came in their mother tongue, so they know it exactly. They know the meaning of it. That's why you don't find many questions. You don't find many questions posed by the Sahaba, because it was known to them. Here and there, because there are some words in the Quran revealed in the tongue of some other tribes. Other tribes. Okay. So maybe because this particular word is not known to this companion because it's not there in his tongue, his mother tongue. It's the language of another tribe. But in general, the Quran came down in the language and mainly in the mother tongue of Quraysh. For example, I remember now that Ibn Umar, I think Ibn Umar said, one of the Sahaba, he said, I didn't know that the mudiyah means sikin. Mudiyah is another name for sikin, which means knife. It is in the used by other tribes. They call the knife, the sikin, mudiyah. Mudiyah. And the Quran used the word sikin. And subhanAllah, the Arabic language, my dear brothers and sisters, is so rich. So rich. They calculated roughly 12 millions in the dictionary, 12 millions of the vocabularies or the roots, yudur, roots, 12 million. You will not find any language like that. And from this root, you can derive many words. That's why when you are searching in the Arabic dictionary, you have to go to the root of the word. That's why in the hadith, only no one will master and encompass all the Arabic tongue except a prophet. And that exactly Imam Shafi'i said this Same thing. لا يحيط بالعربية إلا نبي. Only a prophet will understand the Arabic tongue totally. In the year when the Al-Wufud, the delegations, the Arab tribes are flocking to Medina to become Muslims. They came from the different parts of Arabia, different tongues, different dialects. And the Prophet ﷺ was communicating with all of them and understanding all of them. Now, coming to the ayah, that's why, my dear brothers and sisters, put efforts to know the Arabic tongue. Nafi' ibn al-Azraq is one of the Kharijites, was giving tough time to Ibn Abbas. Every time Ibn Abbas explains an ayah, he would stop him. And he would tell Ibn Abbas, do the Arabs know this meaning you mentioned? Give the proof that this is the meaning in the Arabic tongue. And Ibn Abbas would quote a poetic verse said by the Arabs before Islam. So this shows the importance of learning Arabic. Without learning Arabic, you will not understand the Quran. Shaykh Muhammad al-Amin al-Shinqiti, rahimahullah, the one who wrote Tafsir Adwa al-Bayan, was asked once, the ulama, in his journey traveling from Mauritania to Mecca, he passed by Sudan. So he was asked, which book are you reading now, Sheikh? Right now, which book you are reading? Ulama are always reading. He said, I'm reading the Diwan of Umar ibn Rabi'ah. I'm reading the compendium. I'm reading the book that contains the poems compiled and composed by Umar ibn Rabi'ah. He's a poet. He said, Sheikh, why are you reading poetry? He said, I want to, in order to understand the speech of my Rabb, to understand the speech of Allah, the Quran. So I have to know the different patterns and types of the Arab's speech. Coming to the ayah, when the Sahaba heard this ayah, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believe, وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ. يَلْبِسُوا, mix, dilute their iman. بِظُلْمٍ, ظulm means wrongdoing. So they understood the word ظلم, the wrongdoing, injustice, in its broad sense. But that is the meaning of ظلم in their tongue. So the ayah says, those who believe and do not confuse or mix or add ظلم to their iman. So everyone knows that I wrong myself, I do wrongdoing things. That means I will not be. The condition in the ayah is so difficult. So difficult. Who can raise his hand and says that I don't mix my iman with dhulm, I don't commit wrongdoing, I don't commit injustice, neither to myself nor to others? Who can dare to say that? No one. We're human beings. So what to do? See, the Sahaba understood this very well. الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم. So this is a condition. Those who believe and mix not their iman with dhulm. Do not commit dhulm. Okay. That means after fulfilling this condition, وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانُهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ, the reward, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. But then, those who fulfill the condition without committing dhulm, then they will be having amin. They will be granted, they will be given amin, security. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, and they are guided. So they felt this condition is difficult. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ and they said, this ayah, heavy on us, we cannot bear it. No one can will be granted security and will be guided, because the fulfillment of the condition is very hard. The Prophet ﷺ explained to them here that the meaning of dhulm here, not in the broad sense as you understood it. The dhulm here is used specifically to refer to a particular type of dhulm, and that is the shirk. Shirk. Because when you commit shirk, that is also dhulm, because dhulm is putting the something in the wrong place. So here, the dhulm in this ayah is the shirk. And he told them, didn't you hear what Luqman said to his son when he was advising his son? Ya bunayya, O my son, la tushrik billah. Do not associate anyone with Allah. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Verily shirk, associationism, polytheism, shirk, associating any partner with Allah, dhulm azim, great injustice, great dhulm. So the dhulm in the ayah there, it's the same dhulm here. So the ayah means الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم, means shirk. Those who died and they did not commit shirk. Then this good news for them and glad tidings for them. أولئك, who did not commit shirk, أولئك لهم الأمن. Okay? But then is the security. They will have this amn in the next life. They will feel secure and safe from Allah's punishment, from Allah's anger, from the hellfire. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, and they are guided. In their life here, they are guided, because they are abiding by the teachings of their Rab, following their book, following the sunnah of their prophet. So they are guided. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Because if you follow the Quran and the sunnah, finish. You are guided. Because this Quran leads, يَهْدِي لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ, leads to that which is the most upright. So this ayah is giving this good news for the believers, for the monotheists, for those who did not commit shirk. And this shows the virtue of the Tauhid. وعن عبادة بن الصامت رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: من شهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله وأن عيسى عبد الله ورسوله وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وأن عيسى عبد الله ورسوله وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وروح منه والجنة حق والنار حق أدخله الله الجنة على ما كان من العمل. The meaning, this is أخرجاه, that means Bukhari and Muslim, authentic hadith. Narrated Ubadah ibn al-Samit radiallahu anhu, that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever testifies that there's nothing worthy of worship in truth except Allah alone, who's without peer or partner, and that Muhammad is his slave and servant and messenger, and that Isa, Jesus Christ alayhi salam, is the slave of Allah, his messenger, and his word which he bestowed in Maryam, Mary, and the spirit created from him, and that paradise and hellfire are realities. Allah will admit him into paradise, whatever his deeds might be, quoted by Bukhari and Muslim. Now, let us reflect on this beautiful hadith. So, Sayyidina Ubadah ibn Samit radiallahu anhu reported this hadith that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, من شهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. So whoever testifies, okay, that there's no deity worthy of worship but Allah, without associating any partner with Allah. So this is the first part of the Shahada, La ilaha illallah, which means you have to fulfill the 7 conditions. The 7 conditions. Don't think that La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, finish. And that's what we have to teach to the people when we are calling them to Islam. We have to explain to them the Tauhid. Explain to them the significance of this kalima. few minutes ago, you were kafir. After saying it, you become a Muslim. Why? So he or she has to understand the meaning of it. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. فَعْلَمْ, know the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Know it. فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Imam Bukhari in his Sahih, one chapter, باب العلم قبل القول والعمل. The title is like that. باب العلم, knowledge comes first. قبل لا إله إلا الله, العلم قبل القول, before the verbalization, before the articulation, before the utterance and actions. Understand the meaning of it. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, 13 years in Mecca, calling the people to La ilaha illallah, to instill it in their heart. And Quraysh refused to say it because they knew the meaning of it. To say La ilaha illallah means no idols. No idols. The Prophet ﷺ did not tell them, leave Lata, Uzza, Mana. No. He told them, say La ilaha illallah. We know the meaning. And that's what they said. أجعل الآلهة إلها واحدة. إن هذا لشيء عجاب. He's calling us to worship only Allah, the one who's in heaven. How about the 360 idols? What to do with them? We have to get rid of them. أجعل الآلهة إلها واحدة. But that's the meaning of لا إله إلا الله. إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون ويقولون أئنا لتارك آلهتنا لشاعر المجنون. So whenever they are called to La ilaha illallah, they become arrogant. And they would say, shall we leave our aliha, our gods, small g, لشاعر المجنون, for the sake of insane, possessed poet? Because they understood and they knew the meaning of La ilaha illallah. And today, any Muslim, ask him what's the meaning of La ilaha illallah. He tells you La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. MashaAllah. Abu-Lahab, Abu Jahl, Walid ibn al-Mughira, they understood it better than you. When the Prophet ﷺ was begging his uncle, when his uncle was breathing his last, Ya Ammah, قل لا إله إلا الله كلمة نحاج لك بها عند الله. My dear uncle, say La ilaha illallah, a word that will enable me, entitle me to intercede for you before Allah. Abu Jahl said, and those with him, Abdul-Muttalib, don't say it. أراغب أنت عن ملة عبد المطلب. Abdul-Muttalib, Abu Talib, they were telling Abu Talib, or Abu Talib, are you shunning, are you deserting the religion of your father? Abdul-Muttalib. They knew the meaning of it. The Prophet ﷺ repeated. My uncle said, La ilaha illallah. They repeated. And finally, Abu Talib said, Ana ala millati Abdil-Muttalib. And he died. I am upon the religion of Abdul-Muttalib, and he died. So Abu Jahl understood it. Abu Lahab understood it. When the Prophet ﷺ called Quraysh on the Safa and Marwa, and he told them, if I tell you there is behind this mountain an army invading you, attacking you, will you believe me? They said, yes. Said, I am Rasulullah to you. Say, La ilaha illallah. Abu Lahab said, Alihada jama'atana tabbalak. For this you called us, may you perish. And you know, Allah sent down Surah Al-Nasr. So, man shahida an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. This is the kalima important to know its meaning and to instill it in your heart, fulfill its conditions, avoid its nullifiers, the things that will nullify it, will cancel it. Number one is the shirk. And number two is setting up intermediaries. And to follow other guidance than the divine guidance. So it's not just lip service. La ilaha illallah, it transforms you. La ilaha illallah transformed the Arabs from savage tribes into civilized ones, from idol worshippers, from polytheists to bearers of light and guidance, to pious, righteous people, the best of mankind after the prophets of Allah. This is what La ilaha illallah did to them. من شهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. This is the second part of the Shahada. You testify that Muhammad is Allah's servant and messenger. And these two words, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Abd and he is Rasul. They balance our belief regarding the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or belief in him. We don't raise him to a higher status above the status which Allah appointed for him. We don't go to extreme and ascribe and attribute to him that he knows the unseen. He knows everything. He hears us. So we can ask him now and call him when we need anything. And this is what we hear when you sit with the Sufis. May Allah guide them. Just a few days ago, I saw a clip on the YouTube. One of the Sufis is saying, this turban of mine, this turban, the Prophet ﷺ placed it. He's saying, between me, he is in the 21st century. He said, between me and the Prophet, there is no one except my father. Allahu Akbar. So this is the highest isnad on earth. This isnad higher than the isnad of Imam Malik, the golden chains, Silsila Dhahabiyya, Malik Nafi' ibn Umar. But no, only one between him and the Prophet. So the Prophet ﷺ is the one who gave them this turban. Because the Sufis, they believe that the Prophet ﷺ, he comes from his grave alive and he visits them and they see him and he attends their dancing circles, not dhikr circle. I call them dancing circles, where you find them dancing, jumping up and down, like the Christians, hallelujah, hallelujah. And they're saying the Prophet came. They will be sitting and all of a sudden they will stand up. What happened? The Prophet is coming. The Prophet is entering. Where is he? I can't see him. Oh, you haven't reached. بعدك ما وصلت. You haven't reached the level we reach. We are seeing him. And some they keep an empty chair for him. And they call this what? Hadra. Hadra. The Prophet comes and attends. The Prophet comes, yes. To your dancing circles, yes. And you see him with your own eyes, yes. So you are Sahaba. MashaAllah. You are Sahaba, you are companions. May Allah guide them. See this nonsense? The Prophet ﷺ comes. He leaves his grave and comes and attends this nonsense, this bid'ah, these circles. And he didn't come to stop the criminals who were surrounding the house of Uthman to assassinate Uthman. So the dancing circles more important than saving the bloodshed and saving the life of his son-in-law Uthman. Next to him. He didn't come to stop Aisha from going to Iraq. He didn't come to stop his grandson Al-Hussein from going to Iraq. And he comes to their circles. There's another. Those guys really, they're crazy. They don't know what's coming of their heads. Another one in the YouTube, he was lecturing, I think, in Indonesia. And he mentioned this story. He said, one of these Salihin, pious people, went to Medina to visit the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, because that is what always they do. And that's not sunnah, to go with the intention to visit the grave. Your intention should be to visit the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. Anyway, to his surprise, guess what? Huh? On the outskirts of Medina, who met him? Fatima, radiallahu anha. Also, Fatima came from her grave in Baqi'. Fatima came, and she is waiting for him on the outskirts of Medina. And she asked him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to see your father. MashaAllah. He said, no, my father is not here. My father is in Hadramaut. Where? Hadramaut. Southern parts of Yemen. The Prophet went to visit one of the awliya there. I told you many times, I have in my library big collection of the books of the Sufis. And believe me, some of if you want to just to laugh, okay, read in these books, especially the books on karamat of awliya. There are stories there I cannot mention. So here, وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ. So he is abd. So no ghulu, no extremism, and elevating him above his status. He is a servant of Allah. He doesn't know the unseen. He doesn't know the ghaib. He cannot hear you. And when you send salam upon the Prophet ﷺ, it is an angel conveys the salam to him. And Allah sends back the soul to the body. Okay? So he doesn't know the unseen. He didn't know that Aisha was innocent when she was accused. He didn't know, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the necklace was under the camel. He didn't know that the piece of meat stuffed with poison by the Jews. He didn't know that it was full of poison. So he had a bite and swallowed it. Then Allah made the piece of meat to talk. He didn't know. وأن محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده, is a servant of Allah. But then, وَرَسُولُهُ, to balance. Don't think he's only a servant of Allah and treat him like any other servant. No, he's Rasulullah. So we reverence him, we revere him, we respect him, we love him because he is Rasulullah, and we say we hear and we obey. So this is how you create the balance. He's Allah's servant, so no extremism, no ghulu, and he is Rasulullah, so you don't lower him, you don't treat him like any human being. وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وأن عيسى عليه السلام, Jesus Christ, son of Mary, Abdullah wa Rasulah. You believe that Isa is Allah's servant. He's not God, son of God, or one of the members of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Is Allah's servant. But the Christians, out of their excessive love, they raised him above the level of human beings. They said he is God, Son of God. And the bulk of Christendom, they are fooled by Saint Paul, who concocted for them this doctrine of the Trinity. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا تطروني كما أطرت النصارى عيسى بن مريم إنما أنا عبد فقول عبد الله. He said, do not exaggerate and overpraise me. Okay? Like the Christians did with Isa alayhi salam. I'm only servant of Allah and messenger of Allah. وأن عيسى عبد الله. So Isa alayhi salam is Allah's servant ورسوله and one of the mightiest messengers. أولي العزم. وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم, and he is his word, Allah's word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to Mary, and that is the command. Command. Allah created Isa by the command. Be, and he was. And that's why Imam Ahmad said, Inna Isa kana bikun wa lam yakun kun. Isa was by the word be, and he was not the word be. He was created by the word be, and he was not the word be. Because the command is the action of Allah. So Isa was created like any other human being. إن مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. So the likeness of the similitude of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, is like the likeness of Adam. خلقه من تراب. Allah created him of earth. ثم قال له كن فيكون. Then he said to him, be, and he was. So in the same way Allah created Adam, he created Isa alayhi salam. So if the Christians are saying he's God because he had no father, then by the same token, Adam should be also God because he neither had father nor mother. وَرُوحٌ مِّنْهُ, and he is a spirit from him. And the Christians are using this to say he's a spirit, he's from Allah, part of Allah. وَرُوحٌ مِّنْهُ, here, this spirit from him is one of the spirits, one of the souls he created. Doesn't mean he is part of Allah, but Allah attributed to him the ruh to himself for giving honor to this created soul. Like we say, Baytullah, Naqatullah, the house of Allah, the Kaaba. Okay? The she-camel of Allah. Allah attributed this. وروح منه هي وسخر لكم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض جميعا منه. Allah, he made the things that in the heavens and the earth for you, from him. Are the mountains and everything from Allah, part of Allah? No. They're created as a gift and blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And explain to you in many talks the meaning of or the different types of what we attribute to Allah. I doubt that you are revising your notes. Anyway, what is attributed to Allah, it can be something material, physical, entity, exists in its own, like the Kaaba, house of Allah. This is physical entity. And then we say Baytullah, attributed to Allah. So this we call it idafatu tashrif, this type of attributing to get the honor and giving honor to that house, the body, the Kaaba. Naqatullah, the she-camel, another physical entity, attributed to Allah for the same reason, that this camel should be respected. It should not be harmed, should not be killed. So this is one type of what we attribute to Allah. Another type of what we attribute to Allah Also, it is something physical, something material, but does not exist or stand in its own. It is material, it is something physical, but it needs to exist in something else. It needs to be carried by something else. And that is the ruh, the soul. The soul you have in the body is something material. That's why when you are dying, the angel of death takes it and pulls it and communicates with it, and it flows the soul of the mu'min easily. And when it comes out, it is wrapped in the shrouds, then carried by the angels to the Jannah. Then the soul will be put in the bodies of birds. So the soul is carried all the time in the dunya, in the body. When it comes out by the angels, in the Jannah by the birds, then the angels take it back to the body on the day of resurrection, put it in the body, and carries with the body again. So this is the second type, something material, but it has to exist in something else. And the reason the same, like the house of Allah, just to attribute honor and give honor to this soul. The third type, that what you attribute to Allah is not something physical, tangible, material. It is something abstract. It's a meaning, abstract. Here, if it is abstract and attributed to Allah, then it is an attribute of Allah. For example, ilmullah, Allah's knowledge. Okay? So this is an attribute of Allah. Because knowledge is not something tangible. And the rest of the attributes of Allah. Okay? Sam'ullah, Basarullah. So if what is attributed is something abstract, something not material, then it is an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وروح منه. So don't think that part, and you might hear, I heard it from one of the reverts, okay, he is PhD holder, talking that we have part of the divine in us, thinking that the soul is part of Allah. وروح منه والجنة حق. And you believe that Jannah, paradise, is true, it created, exists. The Prophet walked in it, saw its rivers, saw its palaces, etc. وَالنَّارُ حَقٌّ, created. So the Jannah أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, already prepared and surrounded with hardships, and the hellfire already created, surrounded with hardships, with temptations, desires. And Jibreel saw both of them, and the Prophet ﷺ saw both of them. So you believe in the Jannah, that it exists. When nar exists, it's a reality. It's not something metaphoric. No, it's a reality. The hellfire will be dragged, pulled on the day of resurrection. Angels are dragging it. There are 70,000 handholds. Every hand holds 70,000 angels grabbing it. Do the arithmetic. 70,000 times 70,000. Until they place it under the sirat. وَالنَّارُ حَقٌّ, it is true. If you believe in this forementioned, أَدْخَلَهُ اللَّهُ الْجَنَّةِ, then Allah will grant him or her the Jannah على ما كان من العمل, irrespective of his deeds or her deeds. Either he will enter the Jannah from the beginning, or ultimately after being purified and punished in the hellfire. May Allah make us among those who will enter the Jannah from the beginning by Allah, by His grace. Ameen. So this brings us to the end of our talk for today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain steadfast on this beautiful deed until we meet Him and find Him pleased with all of us. Ameen. May Allah bless us with the beneficial knowledge of righteous deeds, and may Allah guide our ummah, and may Allah unite the hearts of our ummah upon the haqq. Ameen. And may Allah reward all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, immensely for your patience and attendance. Barakallah feekum. Jazakum Allahu khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for the beneficial lesson. The admin is absent at the moment.
Allah, forward the questions. Bismillah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sheikh, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Question says, so is asking actually about the hadith in Sunan Abu Dawood, it's authentic, that the Prophet ﷺ, he visited the Masjid of Quba and the Ansar came to the Masjid and they were giving salam and he was in the salah. So he used to raise his hand like this. Okay, so this is how you answer in the salah if someone gives the salam, and it is sunnah. It is sunnah. This is how you answer and reply the salam. Second question says, how about the one who is tarik the salah, who doesn't pray, if he died without performing salah? Is he going to remain in the hellfire and as the one who died in shirk? Well, as you know, this issue is controversial between Muslim scholars. Okay. If he denies the obligation of the salah, he says, I don't believe in the salah. Okay. I can do my workout, I can do my exercise, enough for me. There's no doubt he's a kafir. He's not a Muslim. But if he believes that he has to pray, this is what the ulama, and he doesn't pray out of laziness. And sometimes he prays, sometimes he skips. Okay. The Sahaba, radwanullah alayhim, there's consensus, ijma'. They didn't consider anything as major kufr and shirk except the salah, if someone leaves the salah. And Imam Ahmad holds this opinion, the Hanbali school. The other three schools, they differentiate between someone who believes that the salah is obligatory, but he leaves some salawat out of laziness. They're saying he is kafir, which is the minor kufr, not the major kufr. In other words, when he dies, this particular person, he will be giving the burial watch and treated as a Muslim. And it's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he says something beautiful. He said, of course, in Islam, if someone doesn't pray, he should be forced to pray, forced by the ruler. Okay, he should be called and asked to pray. If he refused, said, I will not pray. So here, this will show that he doesn't believe in the Salah. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah said, we will expose him and show him, subject him to the safe, the sword. We show him the sword in front of him. Are you going to pray or we were going to strike your neck? If he says, strike my neck, I will not pray. This is clear-cut evidence that he is not a Muslim. At least he will pray out of fear. So the one who doesn't pray has to pray. That's why We have to teach our children to start praying from the age of 7. If someone's wife doesn't pray, he should not continue living with her. Or if her husband doesn't pray, he should not continue living with him. Okay? She has to make it clear to him. Are you going to pray, or we say goodbye? Another question says, does shirk of relying on other than Allah means that you only rely on Allah and not on people and not even ourselves? Relying here, you rely, first of all, your heart. The heart should only rely on Allah and count on Allah. People are means, tools. The head of the family is the bread gainer, but he's not the provider. So the children and the mother should not consider the father their provider. He's only a tool. So they should have their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So first you rely on Allah, then on a means that Allah himself made it a means. For example, you will say to your husband, we are relying on Allah and then on you. No problem. Because you are only a tool and a means. But you don't say, I rely on you. No, I rely on Allah, then on you. And this is going to come in this beautiful book we are learning and studying together. The same thing, I should not rely on my intelligence, my physique, well-being. I rely on Allah. Because this body, this talent I have, without Allah's help, they will not, they are useless. I cannot raise my hand with Allah's help. So that's why we should always rely on Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ, he used to teach the Sahaba not to ask the people anything. Even if one of them, the shoelace got cut, he would raise his hand and say, oh Allah, help me to fix my shoelace. SubhanAllah. That is the tawakkul. Tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything is in Allah's hand. Other things are only causes. So we don't rely on the causes and leave the one who's behind all these causes, the asbab. We rely on Rabb al-Asbab, the creator of all the causes. I hope this is clear to the questioner. Another question says, can you elaborate on the use of branding with fire that affects the person from the 70,000? Yes. This is what we call al-kay, the cauterization. And some of the contemporary scholars, they consider the laser falls under that, because with laser, they also can cauterize. It's not haram. You have to understand. It's not haram. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Ash-shifa fi salat," the cure, the remedy in three things: honey, okay, the cauterization, al-kay, and the cure, the ruqya, the Quran, spiritual cure. So it's not haram. And he mentioned the hijama, the cupping. So it's not haram, the cauterization. But if you want to be from the 70,000, yes, you should not do that. I hope this is clear to the question. Next question, please. What's the difference between good omen and bad omen? The good omen, it is what we call al-fa'l al-hasan, al-fa'l, to be optimistic. To be optimistic. And this is what the deen approves of, that we have to be optimistic all the time. Okay? Because this means that when you are optimistic, you are thinking good of what Allah will do, inshallah. And that's why in the the Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah, when the Prophet ﷺ went to Mecca for Umrah and Quraysh stopped them, and finally there were negotiations going on, and finally agreed that this year they will not perform Umrah, they will come next year. Quraysh first sent to the first negotiator, and he was not skillful and diplomatic, so the discussion reached dead end. So Quraysh sent another. They sent Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail means easy, his name, easy. The Prophet ﷺ, when he saw Suhail coming, he said, Sahula amrukum, to the Sahaba. Sahula amrukum. The situation will be eased, because his name is Suhail. This is example for the good omen. Okay, so you become optimistic. The bad omens, and the bad omens, they exist in almost every community. People are superstitious. Okay, so for example, if they see a dog howling, oh my God, something is going to happen. Somebody is going to die. Or the owl, if that bird lands on someone's house, bad omen. Okay. If a nerve is flickering on your eye, bad omen. The Arabs, before Islam, when one wants to travel, he would take the bird like a falcon and let it go fly, and then he will wait. If the bird flies to the right, goes to the right direction, this is a good omen. If the wind was blowing in the other direction and the bird flew towards the left, oh, this is bad omen, etc. And many people, they believe in bad omens. For example, you get up in the morning, you want to go to work, you started the car didn't start, the battery is dead, you replace the battery, now the car started, you want to to move. One of the four tires is flat. So you start to say, oh my God, this is a bad day. Oh no. It's not a bad day. Don't believe in bad omens. Okay? The battery of the car became dead because you are a negligent person. You don't take care of your car and check your car periodically. The same thing, you don't check the air in the in the tires of your car. Fix your tire and go to work. I hope this is clear to the questioner. This issue, the question about raping, those men who raped the girl, it is the Qadi who will decide what punishment for them. Okay? What punishment to receive. I know a case, one rapist, he raped a girl, and he was caught, and he was executed. The punishment, he was killed. Though his family came to the family of the girl, said, our son is going to marry her. They wanted to save the life of their son. The family of the girl refused. So the punishment can be capital punishment. Okay? And this is the Muslim judge and Qadi will decide. Another question says, some people kiss their hands when they hear or say the name of the Prophet ﷺ. Yes, and especially sometimes in the Adhan. This is in the subcontinent. They do like this. Okay? So this is bid'ah. And this is based on a fabricated hadith. Fabricated hadith. There's a hadith fabricated. That's the reason. Next.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. The next question is it permissible to rely on one's abilities or one should solely rely on Allah?
I answered that question, Akhi. I answered it.
Then this was the...
Okay, this is another question. Part of it was mentioned before. Anyway, is it permissible to rely on one's ability or should one rely on Allah? Of course, on Allah. What is your ability? I mentioned that I cannot raise my hand, you see, without Allah. Help. I cannot raise it. Now, what do I need to raise my hand? I need will. I need the strength and the muscles. I need time. I need place. Who created all these things? Allah. So I cannot function without Allah. I cannot function without Allah. So I rely all the time on my Lord. But this doesn't mean I don't do my homework. It doesn't mean I don't prepare myself. It doesn't mean I don't revise and study hard for my exams. But I do all these things, but my heart is relying on Allah and seeking His help, always seeking Allah's help. Don't you know? You might revise and work hard and answer all the exam questions you came across, and you go to the exam hall. I will ace A. and they give you the paper, and you go black out. You don't see anything, and you don't know what to do. Why? Because you were having this self-conceit, relying on you yourself, and you forgot that you, without Allah's help, you are nothing. You are nothing. So always count and rely on your Rabb, and do what you are supposed to do. When the man asked the Prophet ﷺ, shall I tie the camel or rely on Allah? He told him, tie the camel, then rely on Allah. Don't say I rely on Allah and you let your camel loose. It will go. Okay? I hope this is clear. Next.
Barakallah feek. Brother Ali, you can come on to the mic, inshallah. Brother Ali, do you want to ask your question? If not, we
He
can.
can write it. He can write it. Next question, please.
Okay, inshallah, we'll conclude there. That was the final question. May Allah accept everyone's attendance and the lesson from the Shaykh. And may Allah gather us in the Jannat al-Firdaus Na'im. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless all of you. May Allah reward all of you. May Allah protect you, protect your family. May Allah elevate your status in this world and in Jannatul Na'im. Ameen. Until we meet, inshallah, in the coming session, I leave you in Allah's company and protection. في حفظ الله ورعايته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.